Electronic Arts is in my opinion one of the most greedy, despicable publishers in the gaming industry. But even a villain from time to time makes a good decision or a good deed. EA Originals is definitely one of their best endeavors. It's a project focused on helping small indie studios in releasing their games. According to EA, there are zero compromises on artistic vision of the developers so they can truly focus on games. I can believe that because I haven't found a single loot box in any of those games, not even an in-game store.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Thanks to EA Originals, players got amazing titles like both Unravel games, Fe, Sea of Solitude, and of course the big hitters, It Takes Two and its predecessor, A Way Out. I guess now it's time to briefly talk about the studio responsible for It Takes Two and A Way Out, Hazelight Studios, and their charismatic leader, Josef Fares. Many gamers, as well as myself, first heard of this guy during 2017's Game Awards, when he took the scene with our favorite pro gamer Jeff Keighley, a notable fan of Doritos and Mountain Dew.
So how does it feel to be back at the Game Awards 4 years later?
Look at me, man. How do I look? It's like, I'm telling you this, okay. There are like passionate people, there are crazy people, and there is me. I'm so passionate to be here. I'm so excited. This is the shit. I'm telling you, this is the real shit. Okay, can you swear here? Can you swear? Okay. Fuck the Oscars, you know? Fuck the Oscars!
Josef's explosive speech was one of the highlights of the whole show. He became known as this energetic, enthusiastic person who speaks his mind freely. Now, let's just imagine that the whole Electronic Arts would take some lessons from Josef's direct approach. No more PR bullshit, just truth. EA and DICE, are you going to repair Battlefield 2142?
Fuck you!
EA, why are you introducing new gambling-like mechanics in your games?
Fuck you! I'll tell you!
Josef instantly won hearts of many new fans, and multiple eyes were turned into the direction of his project, A Way Out. Game designed solely as a cooperative experience. So once again I asked my Till Death Do Us Part player 2 for help, and we began our adventure.
Am I hiding?
In fear, yes.
How do they escape?
Get ready.
Boom!
What do I look like?
Boom.
I don't have a splash.
No, you don't. You just need to go. Oh, that's it.
God damn it.
No, stop.
Fuck.
Other side
Anti-pro
and,
gamer here.
and boom, boom, boom.
Almost.
You caught one by...
What, by accident?
Yes.
No! Give me that.
No.
Give me that.
No.
Give me that.
Okay, do it.
What should I...
This.
What?
No, president, you will see.
Okay, how do I go?
I'm a natural, baby.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, kurwa! No!
Hi. This is delayed review, A Way Out. This review is based on 7 hours of total playtime, finishing the game in co-op with my wife, replaying parts of the game in order to get achievements and try different solutions, outcomes, completing all of the achievements available in this title. So let's break out of that prison, shall we? Hazelight tells an intriguing story about 2 inmates trying to break out of prison and then pursue the man who wronged both of them. The 2 protagonists are Vincent Moretti, a former banker who got tangled in money laundering schemes which turned up badly for him and his family. Then there is Leo Caruso, played by Josef Fares' brother, Fares. Leo is introduced as a thief who got caught after stealing a very valuable diamond. He was betrayed by his partner Harvey, who is the antagonist of this story. The 2 main characters serve as a great juxtaposition to one another. Leo is straightforward, hot-headed and prone to using more violent solutions, while Vincent represents calmer, more thought-out approach. He relies on words to get out of sticky situations. Hazelight likes to clash our heroes' personalities in order to flesh them out even more, to uncover their motivations and backstory. They like to banter during adventures. With time, both men slowly open up about their lives and problems. Thanks to it, Leo and Vincent build a bond not only with each other, but also with players. We start to care about those two fugitives. We root for them. The clash of personalities between Leo and Vincent is also cleverly used for the gameplay purposes. On some occasions, they will disagree about how they want to deal with a problem. The game then asks the player to choose the approach. Both players have to agree on taken path. It introduces some decision making as to how the story will unfold and increases replayability a little bit. In most cases, those choices won't influence the plot in any great way. They will just affect the short sequence or as little as a single event.
It's probably me.
It is?
Yeah, I'm here a lot. I got this disease. The doctors can't figure out
The
what
difference in personalities also shows while talking to NPCs. Vincent usually speaks to people in more polite way. Leo goes straight to the point and doesn't hide his thoughts. A lot of those conversations offer some humorous elements, so it's kinda fun to go around each zone and talk to people.
So, what's happening here?
The bulb's blown out. It's the third time this week.
Problem with the wiring?
Does it really take two guys to change a light bulb?
If you're in the union, it does.
The plot is structured in a way where the first part of the game is focused on breaking out of prison. We meet our characters, get to know the basic information about them. Then they slowly work their way to escape from prison. And listen, I love the introductory cinematic, how movie-like the whole opening sequence was. But plot-wise, I couldn't shake these B-movie vibes. You know, a low-budget prison break flick with a lot of plot holes and conveniences. It turns out that both men are in jail because of the same guy. Leo has a plan to escape the prison, but does he have any knowledge about the building layout? We are never told. It's not like he has a prison map tattooed on his back. Anyways, I was relieved when it turned out that the first escape try failed because both men encountered an obstacle that they haven't prepared for, so they had to go back to their cells and forge a new plan. It was a nice touch. The second part of the plot is where the true bonding begins. While on the run, Leo and Vincent have to work together in order to survive. This second part is actually about exploring their lives and motivations. We get to meet families of both men, so now we know the stakes. Leo wants to rebuild his relationship with his son, while Vincent has marriage problems with his pregnant wife. And this whole thing feels so organic. It comes very naturally and doesn't feel forced upon the player. You know, it's not like a forced scene in the bar when all of a sudden a group of misfits decides that right now they are family. Josef Fares, who is also the writer behind A Way Out, describes the genre of this game as an emotional adventure. So this second part of the story introduces the emotional stakes. It actually takes time to show players what is the true endgame for both Leo and Vincent. To restore a life with their families. But in order to achieve it, they need to fix their conflict with Harvey. This is such a strong narrative choice because at this point I was fully invested in the story. As the story continues, players are going to realize that the plot isn't actually that simple. While escaping from prison, we haven't got the full picture. So as we progress, we will also broaden our understanding of what happened. But I'm going to cut it right here. The last part of the game is too good to be spoiled, so I highly recommend playing it first. I will talk about it in spoiler section before discussing Steam reviews. A Way Out is the purest co-op game you can find. There is no single player, no AI to control player's teammate. 2 players are a requirement. You can connect through online play, Steam's remote play, or just play locally on a single PC. I have to give it to the local co-op play. There is nothing like arguing with your partner while sitting next to each other.
When do I pull the cord? Fuck this! Oh shit!
No?
I can't do it!
Okay, you need to catch me,
Vincent, motherfucker!
Wow, where?
I'm below you, you see the green...
Below it means...
Below, it means pod topo.
God
Look at the green.
I have green too.
You are. Look how.
You are
Can use
above
mouse.
me.
No, you are above me. You can use your mouse to. I'm dead. Just use your mouse. I'm below
Right
you.
on to me.
I'm below you.
O kurwa, rzeczywiście!
So I played as Leo on a controller while my wife played as Vincent on mouse and keyboard. The gameplay in general can be described as very basic. Our characters can freely move, run or glue into cover. The cover system is actually a little bit janky. Sometimes a character just spontaneously get out of cover while on other occasions they stay glued and don't want to get out. There is a dedicated button for interactions, talking, as well as there is one for jumping. There are few shooting sections. The cover system unfortunately tends to sometimes work against the player. Characters occasionally lean out from behind the cover in a way where you can't even shoot or there is a limited vision. I also had some problems with aiming on the controller. This is not an open world game. We play on medium-sized stages where players pursue specific goals. Hazelight likes to break the monotony of following objectives by giving players a lot of side activities in each zone. As this is a cooperative game, a lot of those activities challenge players to compete against each other.
Alright, maybe not.
Okay, let's not be.
Come on, come on, come on! Enough! Nice!
We are doing it.
You're about to go down, my friend.
Let's do this. Three.
Take him down!
Two.
Take him down!
One.
Yes!
Wait, what should I press?
Nice!
Oh.
A few moments later.
Nice.
I will not be able to upload it on YouTube if you will.
Take him down! Take him down! Yes!
But I cannot lose that.
Yeah!
I am a pro gamer here. My finger is stronger than yours.
He can't handle it!
Okay.
Later.
I've been training my right hand my whole life for
Nice.
this.
A few moments later.
Take him down! Take him down! Yes!
One eternity later.
Okay, we're wasting
Yeah.
time.
Fuck! Everyone!
Your luck.
If you watched any of my previous videos, then you should know that I highly value depth of gameplay mechanics. A Way Out is a very simple game. Gameplay offers very little in terms of complexity, but I still think that this is a very well designed game. First of all, the runtime. It takes about 6 hours to finish your first playthrough. Hazelight hits a perfect soft spot where the casual experience offered by the title doesn't overstay its welcome. Yet, it has enough time to build up cohesive, emotional and satisfying narrative. The addition of multiple minigames helps to further increase players' engagement. Josef Fares and his team knew exactly how to use the co-op factor of A Way Out. Side activities doesn't have to be complicated, they just need to offer brief fun for the players. And that's precisely what they achieve. Many studios would just leave it like that, but not Hazelight. Players need to constantly work with each other, they have to communicate. There are multiple challenges where they have to time their efforts correctly. One player has to draw attention of the guard, while the other is trying to sneak to a restricted area. There is a section where Vincent will use flashlight to light up the way for Leo. One player can stand on the lookout while the other tries to work their way out of the cell. If things go bad, they can even try to draw attention of the guards in order to buy some time for their comrade. In A Way Out, success is achieved only by teamwork.
Boom. 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 Oh no! Wait. Let me wait.
Okay.
Let me get to you. Fuck.
Fuck.
Wait, let me get to you.
Boom.
Don't boom without me. Wait, let me get to you. Wait. Get ready and
Boom.
Josef Fares proves to be a brilliant game director. There are so many creative ideas stuffed in this game. It's impressive. There are stealth sections, chase sequences, players will find themselves skydiving, they will work together to catch fish. Then they will try to steer a boat on a rough river, trying to work out a way to avoid crashing on rocks. There are car chases, motorcycle chases. The way the camera operates during the scripted moments when the layout of the split screen frame dynamically changes is so fluent, it adds a cinematic feeling to the whole experience. The sheer amount of creativity contained in A Way Out makes players excited. They are wondering what kind of crazy gameplay twist awaits them. Developers also like to give homage to other works of art. There is a section where Leo and Vincent have to simultaneously place at the closed door at the exact moment when the thunder strikes so that the guards won't hear them. It's a clear nod to Shawshank Redemption. Then there is my favorite part when both men run away from the police. This time there is no split screen. Camera travels in a very cinematic way from Leo to Vincent as they take turns in this crazy chase sequence. What absolutely blew my mind was this scene where Leo has to fight cops in a corridor. This is such a stylish nod to Park Chan-wook's Oldboy. I absolutely adore it. Hazelight proves that the core of your game can be really basic, but if you work out ways to creatively engage players, then the end result can still be impressive. A Way Out uses Unreal Engine 4. This is a very versatile engine capable of producing amazing results. Hazelight does not use the engine to its full extent. The visual side of the game is okay. Not great, not bad. Animations and facial expressions are quite good. Hazelight managed to use motion capture to add realism into their game. Actors did a fine job in portraying each character. The performances given here are really strong and believable. They sell emotions well, which in turn helps out greatly in inducing an emotional reactions from the players. I also have to admit that I really like the music in A Way Out. We have to acknowledge that its main goal is to create this emotional adventure. Most of the tracks are used to emphasize certain gameplay sections. A slow, kinda traditional opening music when a new inmate arrives to jail. Fast, riveting piece underlining a crazy chase sequence. The soundtrack quality stays on a very high level. The levels skyrocket with the pieces designed to make players care, to make them emotional. Music intensifies the effect of certain scenes and hits you right in the feels. A fun exercise to be made after finishing the game is to look for A Way Out OST on YouTube and compare view counts on different tracks. There is one that stands out, and it's precisely the one that's tied to the most emotional scene in the game. Comments and the music piece are actually spoiler heavy, so do it after playing the game, please. I haven't got any issues with how the game operates outside of clunky cover system and weak shooting on a controller. I'm just gonna say that I have played Gears 5 campaign in co-op with my wife. I used the controller and I had zero issues with shooting there, while in A Way Out I couldn't aim at all. It was a little bit frustrating. Thankfully, Monica is a remarkable marksman.
Whoa! This is me!
How?
We haven't got any problems with crashes or frame rate issues. The whole experience is very fluid. I'm impressed how seamless the transitions from cutscenes to split screen sections are. Zero frame rate drops. Okay, this is a spoiler section. I will discuss the ending of the game. I highly recommend anyone who didn't play the game, or even people who are unsure if they might one day play it, to just skip this section. I really believe that experiencing the story firsthand for the first time is the right way to go. There are timestamps in the description, so suit yourself. So, my problems with the game before reaching the climax were escaping the prison with relative ease despite having no plans about the architecture of the facility. While Leo and Vincent were on fugitive status, there should be police forces everywhere and their relatives would be observed all the time. But then we get to the plot twist. Vincent is an undercover cop.
Here you go. Good job, Vincent.
What the fuck? No way!
I'm sorry, Leo.
No. this whole thing starts to make sense.
Both my wife and I were taken completely by surprise. It's a pretty good twist. It's believable and it's not like Game of Thrones Season 8 cheap subverting expectations. All of a sudden, the relative ease of escape from prison started to make sense. The lack of cops when Leo and Vincent were on the run also made sense. The hesitation in Vincent's use of force against other people who weren't cartel members was suddenly explained. But I would argue though that it opens a new series of plot holes. For example, what kind of police secret undertaking would endanger innocent people in the hospital? I really hate to be this nitpicky guy on the internet, because I love this story and how emotionally damaged I was after the credits. But still, those questions came to my mind. It's a good time to explore the writing in terms of logic against art. You see, Josef Fares as the head writer had a choice. He could choose the route of 100% logical and believable events. But you know, this is an emotional adventure. And sometimes you have to bend the rules a little bit in order to instigate drama, to add some thrills, or just to squish in an awesome chase sequence in the hospital. So I understand the writing choices made here. In the last chapter, Joseph exceeds expectations and pits players against each other. Another break in the formula. Not only are the players surprised, but all of a sudden they have to work against their colleagues. This introduces a new dynamic into the gameplay. It's brilliant. Leo, being betrayed by Vincent, refuses to surrender. He manages to escape. We take part in a crazy chase where Vincent tries to shoot the boat in which Leo escapes. Then there's a shooting section. Health bars are shown. This is the last boss fight. Whatever players think about this situation, they are forced to fight. In our case, it was Monica's mouse and keyboard against my controller. Let me remind you that she is more of a casual gamer. I'd tried everything I could to beat her. I tried taking high ground, destroying potential cover spots. Nothing worked. I just couldn't aim fast enough with the controller. She sprayed me with bullets each time. My Leo lost this fight, but my ego was shattered. It hurt. So then we arrive at this culminating point in the story. Monica as Vincent had to shoot Leo. She didn't want to do that, but the game gives player no choice.
Fuck me. Okay, I'm trying to... No! I can't move anything. This is not a good game. He's gonna be dead.
The ending is very bittersweet. With Leo and Vincent's last handshake, we get to see as the split screen feature slowly fades away.
What now?
We observe as one of the protagonists gets another chance at life. At the same time, the family of the other, now deceased man, is shattered. It just broke my heart. Not only mine, my wife had tears in her eyes. We both watched the montage of the scenes in the epilogue and couldn't find words. So yeah, I believe that this is an emotional adventure. Hats off to you, Mr. Fares, you've got 2 new fans.
Fuck you, Josef Fares. I didn't know that this game will make me feel.
This is the part where I'm going to look at 100, maybe 200 most recent Steam reviews for the game. The goal is to see what other players like or dislike about the title. I want to remind everyone that I do not consider my opinion as superior. I just want to compare my point of view with arguments made by other players. At the time of making this video, A Way Out sits at a score of 87% positive reviews out of more than 21,500 total reviews. I will give you a general idea about arguments raised in Steam reviews because a lot of them discuss events from the game. The majority of reviewers praise the co-op factor. It shouldn't be a surprise because everything is more fun with a friend. Many users point out the cinematic feel of A Way Out. And I guess that Josef Fares should be proud of this game and direction because a lot of reviews praise the plot and especially how the story affected them. Ironically, when we look at the negative opinions, the majority of them talk about the story too. Some people dislike the plot holes, but most of them just disagree with the culminating point of the narrative and how it was conducted. You can even notice that many of those people were actually really invested in the story, but it just didn't go the route they wanted to. There are also few reviews claiming that the game is boring. Well, if we subtract the base gameplay loop, then I guess it could be described as unengaging, but as a whole product, this is one crazy ride. Surprisingly, there aren't many negative reviews talking about the game crashing or not launching. Also, the game requires an Origin account and almost no one complains about it, which is a rarity when it comes to EA games. A lot of users point out that the game is short. Some people dislike the fact that there is no single player, but in my opinion, A Way Out works wonderfully as a niche co-op only product. A Way Out offers an interesting spin on achievement hunting. There are 14 trophies to acquire in the game. All of them are tied to side activities and hidden cutscenes. There are no achievements tied to story progression or collectibles, so it is possible to finish the game without a single trophy. Also, there might be spoilers here, so you have been warned. I'm gonna talk about the achievements in order at which they are obtainable in the playthrough. The first achievement, the Dip, is obtainable at the prison yard. Near the beginning there's a moment when Leo and Vincent start in different locations and they are supposed to meet. Player controlling Leo has to talk with an inmate close to the workout equipment. There's a challenge to do 20 tricep dips. You need to complete it in order to unlock the achievement. Next trophy is awarded for releasing a bird from the cage. It's located on the balcony of the warden's office. This achievement is accessible during nighttime escape sequence on the rooftops. Then, just after the escape, players will start the next chapter in the forest. Immediately after the start, head right to the ledge of a rock formation. Jump over the gap and then make both Leo and Vincent sit for a while on a rock. 3 achievements are obtainable on the farmstead. After you deal with the old couple, players will be able to explore the house and its surroundings. 1 trophy requires to climb the ladder at the windmill and spin it a couple of times. The other one requires both players to engage with an old clock. It's tricky because the game doesn't show a prompt that you can interact with it, but you can. Just get both Vincent and Leo close and interact with it at the same time. The secret doors at the staircase will unlock. Go there and explore. In Sync achievements requires Leo to play on banjo and Vincent on piano. Both players have to hit at least 15 notes correctly in a row. In the chapter Preparations, when both men arrive at the trailer park, there are numerous achievements to unlock. One of them requires to complete a side quest given to you by the woman with a bat. Then there is this swing in the playground. Have both guys sit there opposed to each other.
What the hell are we doing? I don't know. You sat down first. No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. Did I? This is getting awkward. Yeah, Vincent. Yeah, what? Nothing.
Near the garage, there are people playing baseball. One player has to throw the ball, while the second has to hit the home run in order to get the trophy here. Home run registers at around 180 points. When Leo has to talk to his son, Vincent will be asked by Linda to help her with her bike. Just follow her instructions. Managed anger is another well-hidden achievement. During interrogation sequence, you have to first use both Leo and Vincent to push the guy on chair near the edge. Then position Leo on the side of the table near the wallet, but do not interact with the wallet. Try to face Leo a little bit to the wall. There will be no prompt, but if you hit interaction button, he should lean towards the table. Just let him think for a while and the cutscene will start. Leave the Dream is unlocked at the second floor of the hospital. In a corner of a bigger room there is a TV. One player has to turn it on and then both Leo and Vincent have to sit on the couch and watch TV. After a while a cutscene will play out. The last two achievements are obtainable in the hangar. First one is awarded when both players will play arcade against each other. The second one is awarded for trying to fly away in a helicopter. And those are all of the achievements in the game. I think it's really nice that Hazelight Studios rewards players for exploring the map with short cutscenes. It's a nice touch. A Way Out is the purest co-op experience you can find. You need two players to enjoy the game. Its charismatic director, Josef Fares, describes this title genre as an emotional adventure, and I have to agree with him on that front. The gameplay by itself is really basic, but the strengths of this game come from creatively utilizing co-op features. Players need to constantly work together to overcome various challenges. Developers successfully find new ways to introduce interesting, various changes to the gameplay and keep it fresh. The plot starts in a very standard way, giving some B-movie vibes. As the players progress through the story, they discover their characters' backstory and motivations, and the whole emotional adventure thing starts to make sense. It's really easy to get invested in Leo and Vincent's story. A Way Out offers an impressive, explosive and dramatic finale that stays with you after the credits roll. I recommend this game. Thank you for watching this video till the end. If you liked it, then press the thumbs up and consider subscribing. Maybe even leave a comment. If you didn't like it, feel free to tell me what you didn't like. My question to you after this video is: would you be fine with a great emotional story even though it would have some glaring logical issues? What kind of plot holes would you be ready to accept? So that's all from me. Bye.